and talking Maori issues this morning, I want to introduce to you our next guest very shortly, but first of all, the issue. And because it's an ongoing issue, and it's to do with the protest that is currently underway at a place called Kahuranaki Station, which consists of 1,200 hectares of land and a mountain, apparently. I don't know if it's a mountain. It's 646 meters. How tall how tall do you have to get to be a mountain? Doesn't matter. It apparently has a mountain status, Kahuranaki. Now, both mountain and station have been in the private sale and under private ownership for a great period of time. And last month, I think it was put up for sale. All right, nothing particularly special about that. And it was sold by tender. Now, Ngāti Kahungunu, which is my old tribe, iwi, goes all the way up to Wairau, I think, and all the way down to Wairarapa. Is it the third largest in terms of population in New Zealand? I think it might be. But anyhow, Ngāti Kahungunu, which is essentially Hawke's Bay, Wairarapa, but Hawke's Bay, you'd argue, is its heart, put in a bid, or at least interest connected with the iwi put in a bid, and it didn't succeed, presumably because it wasn't as high as the next bid. And so as a consequence of that, iwi now are protesting the sale of Kahurānaki Station. They've gathered at the station to protest the sale, and despite the fact that apparently it has cultural significance, it didn't end up with them. Now, the protest, as I understand, is ongoing, but the recently re-elected head of the Ngāti Kahungunu iwi, Bayden Barber, says that he wants to talk to the new owners about protection of the mountain from such influences as forestry or housing, and access for the iwi, which they enjoyed with the goodwill of past owners. And Bayden Barber joins us now. Bayden, welcome to the show. Lovely to have you on.
Kia ora, Mike. Tēnā koe.
Kahuranaki. Have I got that? Is that right pronunciation?
Yeah, Kahurānaki. Yep.
Kahurānaki. Sorry. So
Yep.
it's a long A. Kahurānaki. Okay, cool. Thanks, mate. And congratulations upon your re-election. You took over from Ngāiwi Tamona, did you?
Yeah, back in 2022. Ngāiwi had been there for 26 years as the chair of Ngāti Kahungunu.
So explain, please, to ignorant white person, how do you get to be re-elected? Is it a 3-year term and there's a vote, or what happens, Bayden?
Yeah, we're the only, well, I think we're the only iwi that has a at-large election for the chair role. So every registered Ngāti Kahungunu member who's eligible to vote, over 18 or over, can put in their vote. And we had an election this year. 2 of us ran, and I was fortunate to come out on top.
Okay. Oh, no, that sounds very democratic. All right. Now, and congratulations on your re-election. All right. Now, please take us through this, because this is going to get, I suspect, a fair bit of media time in the weeks to come. Who was the station? It's an iconic Hawke's Bay sheep and cattle station, Kahurānaki. Why? Who owned it, and who did they sell it to? Do you know?
Well, we know who owned it. The Greenwood family. They've had it since 1925, so 100 years.
Yep.
First time it's been on the market for 100 years. Who bought it? Well, that's the big mystery. And yeah, we were devastated that we weren't the successful bidder. It's been over a month now, and no one has come forward to reach out to iwi. We'd love to have a conversation, but yeah, it's been very silent, just totally silent. Even though we've tried all our connections to try and find out, no one's come forward. And so that's why we've kind of protested to kind of up the ante, and hopefully they come forward.
Can I ask what you offered for the station?
12.5.
12.5 million. Okay.
Mm.
And that was declined, so presumably there was a tender that was higher than that, yeah?
Yeah, presumably. We don't know.
Okay. You don't think there were any other reasons why your offer was declined?
No, well, I mean, we, we at the protest, we had Mrs. Greenwood come out, and she shared a little bit of information around it. I mean, not a lot, but probably enough to garner that price was one of the issues, but maybe some of the conditions may have been another issue as well.
The $12.5 million was the iwi stumping that up, Bayden.
Yeah, so we have a settlement trust that has settled our land settlements about 5 years ago, Tamatea Pōkau Whenua, and they put forward the tender.
Okay, and the aim would have been to continue to farm the station as a sheep and beefing a sheep and cattle station.
100%. Yep.
And
We've
then
looked at
now, explain to me then, please, the mountain, which 640. Oh well, it doesn't matter. I mean, if it's a mountain, it's a mountain. But
it's a
it
big
seems a
hill.
large. It
It's a
seems
big
a
hill.
large hill
Yeah,
to us in the South Island,
large
mate.
hill.
Yeah. But anyhow, explain to us, please, what the significance of that is, because it's actually on the station.
It is, and we'd love to be able to take the hill from the station, but it actually takes up a large chunk of Kahurānaki Station, which is about 1,200 hectares. It's significant to 23 marae that surround Kahuranaki. You have the coastal marae, such as mine at Waimarama, inland to Te Hauke, Ragi Koianake, and it's in our pepeha, has been for centuries. And when the chief Te Hapaku died, he asked that he would die looking at Kahuranaki because it was so significant. So, I mean, Kahungunu is a big area, as you pointed out in your intro, but for the Hawke's Bay people, Kahuranaki is the maunga, and we just want to have it back in our possession.
Okay, so if you haven't had it since 1925, how did that work? Did you have access to it for what purpose?
No, we haven't had it for longer than that. It was owned by multiple owners before 1925. The Greenwoods have owned it since 1925. It's been out of our ownership since 1854. And I mean,
Was it
we've been able
sold?
to access it. It was sold. It was sold, but
So it was a legitimate commercial sale, was it?
ah, that's debatable. We went through 20 years of treaty settlement to understand how such huge tracts of land got into Pākehā ownership. You had Donald McLean, he had one mission, and that was to get Māori land. And so, I mean, we're not going to relitigate all of that, but
No, but
yeah,
what
it
I'm trying
was,
to say is that I'm assuming that you would have had some sort of application made into the Waitangi Tribunal um, to do with that particular mountain as you describe it.
yeah, the problem is that it has been in private ownership. So treaty claims have no bound over private land, and
Right.
we can only look at Crown land. So it
Okay.
wasn't part of the discussion.
Okay. So it wasn't confiscated so much as sold commercially, whether it was a good commercial deal or a bad one. Okay, I got
Yeah,
it now.
yeah, that's right.
Okay. So have you had since the Greenwoods have been owning that station? Um, I'm reading in some of the press releases that you had access to the mountain. Is that correct?
We've been able to go up there. I think the Greenwoods have been Mr. Greenwood. He's been dead for 10 years now. He was open to iwi, walking the maunga and having our traditional practices up there. But they were few and far between. It wasn't a lot, but yes, they were open to that.
Did you
And
also
we
have a
actually had one. We actually had one. We had one about 2 weeks before the tender process closed. We had a horse track from Wairoa, from Mahia, and it finished on top of Kahurānaki Maunga, and the Greenwoods allowed us to go up there and do what we needed to do.
Okay, so let me get this right. Yes, I see that. So it was the Hei Moanga Kataia horse trek from
Yes,
Mahia
yes,
to
you
the
want to go.
summit. Yeah,
Yeah.
over 10 days. Um, is it something is that a new invention, or is that something you used to do all the time from from whenever to whenever?
No, no. There's been a few horse tricks that have gone up there, but none from Mahia over 10 days. So I think that's been
Okay,
the longest one. But
right.
really, it's about trying to express our connection to the mountain and to hopefully put off any potential tenderers um, from jumping into the race. But it didn't work.
Okay. Now, I think it's a basic principle of private land that you can do what you like on it, provided you meet the legislation or the regulations that control it.
Yeah.
Are you concerned about the use of the mountain for commercial purposes?
We're concerned. I mean, we've had three big stations sell in Hawke's Bay in 2025, and all of them have gone into pine trees.
Mm.
Um, we're concerned about what happens to that manga. We wouldn't want to see it in development or in pine trees. There's a big wahi tapu on the top. And so, yeah, I mean, those are some of the issues, especially if it's a foreign buyer. They have no empathy with things Māori and, what goes on Māori land.
Okay. Eventually, I guess you will discover who the buyer is, and
Yeah.
eventually you will start a conversation. Is it a good idea, just quietly, tactically, if you're seeking that kind of relationship, to be involved in a protest this early in the piece?